Okay, so the next paper is from Mrs. Elsa Bailey, Independent Evaluator.
Hello. I'm also going to try to watch myself here and find my presentation. Okay, and F5. Okay. I'm going to talk today a little bit about museum-university collaboration. Now, this is a very big topic, so I'm going to focus on 2 points today. One is to present a resource, a tool, a technique, perhaps, that will be many people have found quite useful when they enter a collaborative process. And the other is I'm going to share with you ideas that some of your colleagues have generated and that they have found to be quite useful and helpful to have a successful collaboration. So, a two-part process here. Museum-university collaboration is quite complex. There are 2 kinds of institutions involved, or perhaps even more, 2 kinds of organizational cultures, 2 groups of professionals. A simple but elegant tool is a checklist, and I've noticed many of us have mentioned checklists today. So this is to show you that checklists can something be used that we can use in the museum field, as well as some of the fields that are already using them, the airlines. They're being increasingly used in the medical field. So in the museum field, they're particularly useful to try to employ when you're initiating a collaboration. They can help you plan and strategize, and they can also help avoid common pitfalls and hurdles that may arise with matters of communication and cultural understanding during these relationships. So if we take this according to steps, step 1 is the most critical. You need to get with your own organization and discuss things. Consider where you're going with this collaboration. If you are at the museum, how should you initiate approaching the university? What considerations do you need to take into account? In your initial contacts and conversation, what topics do you want to bring up, explore, and discuss? What do you need to know about each other? What do you need to know about the university's culture and operations? What do you want them to know about your culture and operations? Once you've had this rich discussion, you need to establish a set of questions. Now, I've got some specific ones. I'm not going to go through each one of them here, but for example, the first. Who should we first approach at the university, or who can best advise us about that? That could be one of your questions. These will change according to your project, though, of course, so they'll be unique to your situation. Last question on this list, what are the university's goals and agendas? This is a little more philosophical. How do they differ from our goals and agendas? Next step, pair your questions with an action step, an action item. So each question is going to have an action item on your list. So for our first question about approaching, find out about the university's protocols or etiquette. Identify the key personnel to be contacted. How do you do this? Well, you can ask your colleagues at the university for help in gathering this information. On that more philosophical level, let's say you want to work with older audiences as well as younger audiences. You need to find out if the university is also on the same page with you on that. Are they aligned with that kind of thinking? Step 4 is now you've actually got an action list. You've kind of mapped out your strategy, and yet this is a living document, so you're going to change it, add to it, perhaps say, well, we really don't need to bother with that because of what's going on. On this past September 8th, I presented a session on this topic at the 6th Science Center World Congress in Cape Town, South Africa. At this session, we explored the concept of developing a checklist at the very beginning of a collaboration. We began the session with 2 case studies, and then we broke into 6 small discussion groups. We used a little scenario, and the attendees considered topics and questions to be addressed and explored. We collected responses from each group. But within these responses, they also included ideas of what works based on their own experiences with collaboration, and I felt this would be a very useful thing to bring to you. So one of these was start at the bottom and work towards the top. All partnerships start with interpersonal working relationships. The converse of that, start with the top and work down. Invite the Science Center CEO and the University Chancellor to lunch. In either case, buy-in of leadership is key. Identify win-win situations. Museums can benefit by having university students work or volunteer at their organizations. In the reverse, the students receive the benefit of experience in education, research, and marketing. Tap the primary expertise of each type of organization. For example, don't ask a university to design the exhibition, but they can help you with content. The university must get to know the Science Center, have them visit, give free tickets if that's necessary to eventually have a deeper involvement. Make use of the human resources of both organizations. Some felt that the relationship must be formalized through a funded, time-delimited agreement. They gave a couple of good examples, and one was from South Africa. The South African Department of Science and Technology is now finding employment for unemployed science graduates by placing them at science centers across the country. In the UK, at Bristol Science Centre, their paleontology program collected visitor input, and this led to a publication of a paper in a scientific journal. So I encourage you to try to use tools such as checklists, get yourself a strategy and an action plan in place first, and I certainly wish you all success in all of your collaborations. Thank you.